Hey guys, it's May and today I'm going to show you how I made Jane's ATC card. For those of you who don't know, an ATC is an artist trading card and they are 2.5 by 3.5. What I did with Jane was do a swap where she got 5 different cards, but I wanted one to be real personal for her, so I made one with a greyhound. Here's all I did. I found this image online and I just put it in a text box the size of an ATC. That way I'd know that my image would fit on my background. So what I'm going to do is cut this out. If you have an image on your electronic cutting machine that you want to use, it will do the hard work for you. But sometimes there's an image you need that you just can't get from any of those things that you have. Like a greyhound, for example. I don't have a cartridge that has a greyhound on it. So sometimes in our artwork, we have to take our time and do some things that are real specific. You may not do this all the time, but sometimes you're going to spend a little time on it. So this one, what I did was I took an X-Acto knife and I took my time and I cut this out completely. And I'm going to do that with you today. And I'm going to show you here, I took this X-Acto knife and I literally pressed hard so I could cut through the first time. And I took every minute of my time. I did not rush it. Now, I'm not making a bunch of these, you know. Originally I thought I'm going to make one and that'll be it, and so I can spend a little time on it. Now I'm making 2 so I can show you guys. But it's still just one of those things that it's not too hard to do. You just got to take your time. So I just, on the tail, what I did was I cut it a little fatter than it actually is so that I could have some tail showing, because that's such a little minuscule piece there. Don't be afraid to turn this guy. Turn it where you need it. Get it comfortable. And one tip is just to do one cut at a time. Like I'm going to do that leg, okay, and then I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to meet that leg to that tail. I promise, when you put your baker's twine behind this, it hides all your mistakes. So while I'm cutting, I thought I would share some good news with you guys. My oldest son got engaged this weekend, so we'll be planning a wedding. The first thing, we'll be making invitations. And if you guys want to come along, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see how we do the invitations, I'll be glad to show you. But he took his little girlfriend to a photo shoot, which he set up for her because she loves being a photographer and taking photos. And so in the photo shoot, he got down on one knee and asked her to marry him, and she did not know that was going to happen. And so it was so cute. The pictures even looked like they had posed for it, but they didn't. She was absolutely shocked. So it was super cute. Okay, see how I'm taking my time? Like I said, I'm not going to make a bunch of these, so it's okay if for this one I just take my time and get it done. Now I was inspired to do this by the Frugal Crafters video. I don't remember where I went, so I got to turn it around. I don't remember where I stopped on that slice. There's where I went. Okay. Sometimes you might need to check and see what's left to cut out, like I need to cut this foot. And then we're going to finish off at the head. And that should have done it. And there we go. That's our greyhound cut out. Isn't that neat? Now I'm going to trim it out to the square that I have. And this square is slightly smaller than my ATC. So I'm going to cut on that actual line that I made for myself in my text box. And I think I made this text box 1/4 inch smaller, or maybe just slightly. But that way I knew it would fit onto my ATC. Now then, another thing I did, in case when you're cutting, if you don't get all your lines cut away and there's some still black edges and stuff on the paper where you cut around, this is what I did. I just turned it over. So I still have a greyhound, he's just facing in the other direction. Okay, so we don't need this unless you want to turn him around and use him for something else, because check him out, that's cool too, right? And the other thing I did, which I'm not going to do on this card because of drying time, but on Jane's card, this portion was purple. Now when I printed it on the computer, I didn't know what color I wanted to make it, so I just printed it out on white paper. Then I took some of this Hero Art Shadow ink in soft lilac, and I literally painted the paper with it. But it takes a long time to dry because I wanted a good solid coating. So I'm showing you here how solid you can get it. And you just go over it as many times as you want to get it as dark as you want. So that's how I colored Jane's card. And you have to let this dry for a good long time because it's really, really wet. So we're not going to do that today to this card. Now, of course, if you know what color you want, you can just print this on a colored piece of paper and that'd be perfectly fine too. Now the next thing we want to do is use our baker's twine. Now you're going to need a piece to go behind your greyhound that's big enough to cover the greyhound. I made sure mine was big enough to cover my image, but still have a tiny bit left over on the sides. Okay, so I'm going to take this. You have lots of options here. You can use dry adhesive for this, or I used wet adhesive, and I'll tell you why. I wanted some time to move this stuff around. I didn't want to be stuck with it in one position. So I just went ahead and coated this in adhesive, just like that. And then, to save twine, I didn't cut it away until I stuck it down. So get your twine stuck down, and then cut. Now, if you want to just measure and cut a whole bunch of pieces at once, you can. But I just kept it on the spool and snipped. Now you're going to cover this entire card just like this. Now if you noticed in Jane's, hers had a little brown and a little black. I just did two different colors of twine. I did a black and white twine and then a brown and white twine. Or actually I think it was brown and gray, now that I think about it. So I think you get the idea. I'm just going to go through and continue doing this till I get this covered. So now I have this piece completely covered. See that? All the way across. And then I'm just going to cut off these pieces that are just kind of hanging here. So check it out. Now, do you see how some of my patterns got the same in places? If that bothers you, just make sure to alternate your patterns when you put it. But that didn't really bother me. I liked how it turned out. Okay, so let's get rid of this stuff. Now, by doing this way, you end up with a black and white greyhound. Isn't that pretty? So what I did at this point was I glued this piece directly to this. And I did it with heavy glue. Heavy glue is what I used. When I say heavy, I mean a lot of glue. So I made sure that I got glue everywhere on this dude. The good thing is with the baker's twine being a fabric product, it's going to soak in any excess glue, which is good. I just wanted to make sure that every bit of this stuck down, because I don't want to take a chance of something lifting up and then ripping. Okay. And then all you do is from the front side, press it down, because this way you'll be sure your image is covered in the baker's twine. Now, what do you think? Pretty neat, huh? Pretty simple too. Now what I would do is put some dimensionals back here, cut some to fit here, and then place it onto whatever I wanted to use it for. And I took baker's twine and ran it around the edge in the gap to kind of hide the gap, but you don't have to do that. So there you go, that's how I did the greyhound. Let me show you another simple way to do it. So this piece of paper is 4 by 5 1/4, so it can be matted on the front of an A2 size card. And this is just a heart punch. And what I'm going to do is slide this up in here, wherever you might like that to be. So now I have a heart to use later, and I also have the negative space here to use to run baker's twine. Now, you don't have to do baker's twine. Just to let you know, you can just do ribbon. So what I thought I would do is go ahead and score my card. This is my card base, and it's going to be an A2, and it's going to be a top folding card. So I'm going to score it 5.5. And then fold. And then, because I want to make this fast, okay, I'm going to take this piece and lay it where I want it, because I want to mat it here. Okay. I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm just going to trace, just very lightly. And I really don't need all of it. I just need where the top and the sides are. Okay. Move this away. And now, if you wanted to use the baker's twine, you could just glue it down here, but I'm thinking some ribbon might be cute there. So I've got some mint green and some pink chevron ribbon. And then I'm not going to use wet adhesive this time because it'll put some bulk on it. I'm going to use dry adhesive. So I'm just going to take some ATG and run it periodically. It's kind of messy, but it's fun. Then I just want my ribbon, and you can do it either way, but I just want my ribbon to cover the heart. And I'm not going to waste it because I'm going to lay it and snip it. And then I'm going to alternate my colors. The underneath's going to look messy, and we're not worried about that. Now here's where you have to be careful. Can you see I still have a little bit of heart showing? I want to make sure I put some more ribbon there so that the whole thing is covered when I lay it on top. Okay. And now I'm not going to use dimension on this because I didn't adhere this straight to this. I'm just going to ATG this to the card front. So my ATG ran out perfect right to the edge. Alright, and now I'm going to lay this back where I wanted it. Got a little adhesive showing. So lay this back down. Stick it down. And now check it out. Isn't that super cute and easy? And I know we've seen people do this before, but I just wanted to show you you don't have to just do the baker's twine version. You can also do the ribbon version. So there you go, a couple ideas for doing little inserts and things like that. And imagine how many cutouts you can get from your Cricut cartridges to do this with. I really hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you guys on Friday with some cards we're making with our flower punch board. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.